Morning, Guelph. My name's Mark Peralivas, and that rhymes with For All of Us. And I'm the local People's Party candidate for the federal election in October. I hope you vote for me. Today I'm going to talk to you about foreign spending and foreign relations, etc., for this People's Party plank. And here's Maxime Bernier to introduce it. He says, quote, "Are you fed up seeing your taxes being spent abroad to solve other countries' problems? A People's Party government will save billions of dollars every year by abolishing this development aid." And here's the policy plank, and I'll read it. And I'm just going to focus on foreign spending here, but there is another very important aspect of this policy plank, and it has to do with the United Nations. I'll do another video on that very soon. Okay, here we go. The plank's called Foreign Policy Focusing on the Security and Prosperity of Canadians. The exclusive priority of the Government of Canada on the international scene should be to manage our relations with other countries in order to protect and further the interests of Canadians. Unfortunately, that is not what's happening. There is a growing trend to dilute national sovereignty and to favor increased international policy coordination, as well as the redistribution of wealth from rich to poor countries under the supervision of the United Nations. This globalist vision has been heavily promoted in Canada under Justin Trudeau, who believes that we are, quote, a post-national state with, quote, no core identity. Over the past several years, Canada has signed many UN treaties, accords, and compacts on issues ranging from global warming to migration and sustainable development that tie us to this corrosive globalist agenda. Meanwhile, as our national debt continues to mount, the Liberal government devotes more and more resources trying to solve social and economic problems in other countries. It spends billions of dollars every year to help countries in Africa and Asia build roads, educate children, and reduce their CO2 emissions. It plans to spend $1.4 billion every year to offer abortion and reproductive health services to women in developing countries. Facts, and I scroll down a little bit. There is no persuasive moral or economic efficiency argument for developmental aid. Countries that remain poor are those whose governments are still crushing private initiative. Until they liberalize their economy and free their citizens, no amount of development aid will solve their problems. On the contrary, it creates a cycle of dependency and often helps these authoritarian governments stay in power. Yes, our plan. I scroll down. Continue to work closely with our allies to maintain a peaceful international order, but will not get involved in foreign conflicts unless we have a compelling strategic interest in doing so. Prioritize relations with our main trading and defense partner and work with the Trump administration or whoever occupies the White House to reinforce our friendship and cooperation. I scroll down and I'm skipping these because I'm going to focus on them in a different video. The last part is save billions of dollars by phasing out development aid and focus Canadian international assistance exclusively on emergency humanitarian action in cases such as a health crisis, major conflict, and natural disasters. Okay, I wanted to show you this list, and all of my links are in the description. You can look at it for yourself. This is a list of monies given to the United Nations and foreign countries to date by Justin Trudeau, updated last May 6, 2019, and you can see the list. It's a running list. This person has added tweets of Mr. Bernier's and other people's tweets, etc. You can have a look through that. I'm not going to go through it right now. I've done other videos on this in the past, but I am going to look at some specific articles. So the first one is Canada's pension fund ready to invest $2 billion in affordable housing in India. And I wanted to show you the links on these because that matters, right? And so here's the CBC News article talking about exactly the same thing. Canada's pension fund ready to invest $2 billion in affordable housing in India. That's interesting to me because we have a problem in Canada with housing. And we've got the Canadian government spending money in my town, in Guelph. But it's not anywhere near $2 billion. We're going to have a look at that too. Here's Prime Minister announcing infrastructure funding for Indonesia. That's $14.25 million for Indonesia. Here's that announcement. Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada. Prime Minister announced $14.25 million in funding to strengthen infrastructure development in Indonesia in order to promote sustainable economic growth and reduce poverty in the country. So we're spending $14.25 million to Indonesia. Okay, this was in 2015. Here's Trudeau pledging $15 million for youth job training in 8 African countries, and this is on the list here as well, but I can't remember. Oh, there it is. 8 African countries. And I started trying to get a smattering from all different years, because that was only the first couple of months in 2015 that he's spending this much money, but this is incredible, right? The Canadian government will contribute more than $15 million to help train youth in 8 African countries to find good jobs. $15 million in 8 African countries. Wow, we're very generous with our money. Here's a Guelph Mercury Tribune article talking about federal spending in Guelph, and this is April 26, 2019. Okay, and it says feds announce $1.48 million to address homelessness in Guelph. Okay, interesting. New federal funding promised to the County of Wellington, it's not just Guelph, County of Wellington, is expected to enhance and expand local programs focused on keeping vulnerable people housed. On Friday morning, Guelph MP Lloyd Longfield announced the county is to receive $1,485,909, spread over 5 years to enhance and expand programs to help people find housing and remain housed. I scroll down a little bit. The county has been receiving federal funding that has gradually increased over year. In 2015, the county received $65,202. That would be under Stephen Harper. The county received this increased to $97,000 in 2016. That would be under Justin Trudeau. So Launderville said the county will now be receiving $158,706 for the first 2 years of this 5-year promise. This jumps to $244,433 for the final 3 years. Right, but the increases happen after 2020, and the Trudeau government may no longer be in control. So it's interesting the way they structure it, to have the low payments up front and then larger payments later, because that will make the next government look bad, right? Like they do that way to make the next government look bad, because if you have to repeal housing, the bigger number looks worse, right? If you have to say, well, we can't spend on that because X, Y, Z. But it's interesting, right? Here's February 8th, 2017, Canada to spend $70 million on development for aid for Haiti. And you can go through all of these. Basically, every single one of these is taken from a newspaper headline, and so you can just literally highlight a line and search Google for that line, and likely what will happen is the newspaper article that corresponds to it pops up, right? Canada pledges $200 million in loans to Iraq fundraising conference. That $200 million, but we get 1.4 over 5 years. Right? We're going to continue looking at others. $70 million for Haiti. Liberals restored $25 million in funding for controversial Palestinian aid agency. They were tied to Hamas, and Hamas is an internationally recognized terrorist organization. Here's diplomats fretting about Canadian funding for Ghana outdoor defecation campaign. This is in last year, 2018. It says Canadian diplomats felt the need to justify spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on a campaign aimed at reining in outdoor defecation in Ghana amid questions over the use of development money. Internal documents reveal. The Public Health Sanitation Project included a large graphic billboard showing people squatting on a beach with the slogan, "Beaches are not toilets, don't do it here." A Government of Canada mark is strategically placed at the bottom alongside the logos of the Ghana government and the UN aid program UNICEF. Ghanaian government. And I wanted to see that billboard, so I found the billboard. It was in the article as well, but it was hard to see. But there it is, and there's a bigger picture. Government of Canada, right? Our tax dollars at work, 800,000 of them, $800,000 of our taxpayers' dollars, and we have homeless in Canada that are not able to access funding because we get 1.48 million for our municipalities and for our county to handle our homeless. But we have $800,000 to spend in 2018, just in 2018, on billboards in Ghana for defecating on beaches. That's a problem. Canada contributes $33 million to help build Rehab center for Afghan vets. Canada's quietly contributed $33 million to establish a new center in Kabul to treat Afghan vets wounded in the nation's many years conflict, the Star has learned. When built, the rehabilitation center will be the largest and most modern facility of its kind in an impoverished country where injured vets have faced an uphill battle for treatment. It is also hoped that the center will be a catalyst for more effective treatment of ill and injured Afghan personnel whose numbers continue to grow because of the ongoing counterinsurgency campaign against the Taliban. The Foreign Affairs Department confirmed that Ottawa recently contributed $33 million through NATO's trust fund for the Afghan National Army for the construction of the Kabul Military National Hospital's Rehabilitation Center. As well, the government has provided another $2.5 million to repair the hospital, which was severely damaged in a March terrorist attack. In that attack, gunmen wearing white lab coats stormed the hospital, killing more than 40 people and wounding dozens. Okay, if people storm a hospital, how do they cause $2.5 million damage? What were they doing? Is there no security at all? How did they create that much damage? It just struck out. That number seemed high to me. Were they damaging specifically expensive medical equipment? What did they damage? Back to the article. The department did not make anyone available to speak about the funding. So not only are they sending $33 million to build this center in Afghanistan, but nobody in government is willing to speak to the press about it. And they will spend $1.48 million over 5 years in our city, in our county, and yet there's enough money to do all of these things. It seems like we need to be refocusing on helping Canadians in Canada first. Okay, so thank you for watching. My name is Mark Peralivas. That rhymes with For All of Us. You can find me at markperalivas.com. Link will be in the description. You can find us at ppcguelph.ca. Link is also in the description. Have a wonderful day. Check out the People's Party of Canada. Check out all of the other links that I've talked about. Thanks for watching, everybody.